The UFC's aging knockout king, Derrick Lewis, is in a little bit of a conundrum, if you will. The UFC needs star power. The heavyweight division has been incredibly lackluster, and I don't think it's too crazy of a thing to say that Tallison Teixeira, even though he's only had one fight in the UFC thus far, has already made his way into a main event because he is that 6'7" spectacle, something to maybe bring some excitement to the division. So the question is going to become, can the UFC's knockout king stay a contender in the division, or is this a passing of the torch moment? Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. My name is Derek G. Breaking it down with me, as always, the Santa Fe bomber, the New Mexico native, AJ. We love the Black Beast. We love Derrick Lewis, right? Like, we know that he is a fan favorite. My balls was hot, the whole nine. But what do you think, man? He's getting up there in age. Can he stay relevant in this division?
I think he'll always stay relevant as long as he wants to fight, not just because of the fight style and how much we love him for that, but also the personality. I don't think Derrick Lewis is going to lose much shine just because of who he is as a person. But I mean, relevant for a title, Derrick, I think those days might be past us, and he's really in that gatekeeper position now. Tallison Teixeira is an opportunity to really jump up the ladder.
Yeah, I think he's even said it before, too. He was like, I'm not really interested in fighting for titles, but they keep giving me these checks, and I ain't going to say no. I'll keep fighting until I'm 50. I don't care. So, you always want that entertainment factor, but you just hit on something that's where I think the disconnect is. I think the personality is cool, right? Derrick Lewis, he's funny and all that. It's the fight style. That's the thing that's been tapering off a little bit. The low output, banking on the knockout. I saw a stat recently, man, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but it was saying something like there hasn't been a finish in the heavyweight division in like maybe 3-4 events, something like that. Like, it's been a solid minute since there's been like an actual finish in the heavyweight division. So that's concerning. We need one. This main event might be one of the more lackluster fights on the entire card. So it goes to show we got a little bit of depth, but let's not bury the lead, my friend. Quick UFC 317 recap since we were gone. Happy 4th of July for those who, did fireworks and all that fun stuff. All right, AJ, tie on the week, 3-2. Interestingly enough, because we didn't have the same picks, we both missed on Brandon Royval against Josh Van. So let's talk about that one first here, man. Josh Van did the thing that we weren't sure that he can do. I have a little bit of a pushback because I think Brandon Royval fought probably the worst style of fight you possibly could. It was like one of the worst game plans you could have taken when defending your rank. But Josh Van, he is clearly the man. What do you think about that?
That was you took the words out of my mouth, Derek. I mean, we all expected Brandon Royval to go in there and to put a game plan to work, right? And man, Josh Van showed up, proved that he's a dog. Yeah, this was it was interesting to watch because the whole time I was wondering, when is Brandon Royval going to switch it up instead of just making this a dog fight? He was there for the entertainment. You can't blame him for having some fun in there, but yeah, protect your rank at all costs was what most people would think.
I mean, it was a dogfight, absolutely, man. But that's kind of the problem. You get into just a kickboxing affair with a Josh Van. That's the bread and butter. I thought that we were going to break out the grappling, do some of that stuff. But listen, man, he might be able to get a comeback fight against Brandon Moreno, work his way back up that ladder. But sucks to see there. Shout out to New Blood. I said it was the best thing for the division. Josh Van doing what he did. That's the most exciting thing that could have happened for the fans. The other misses here. So let's talk about Peyton Talbot really quickly, man. So he gets back into the win column over Felipe Lima, I believe, right? First name Felipe,
correct.
I think.
Yep.
So yeah, Felipe's good, bro. Felipe is good. I felt he was a little undersized, isn't the right word, but physicality is what I think won Talbot this fight. I still think the takedown defense isn't magically improved overnight, you know what I mean? But he was physical enough to be able to stave off of that, given that Lima is he's not as good of an offensive wrestler as Raoni Barcelos is. The back takes are phenomenal. It was a good fight until, it wasn't. But Peyton Talbot, you got in some cash money, plus money to be specific, right here for everybody who doubted, including myself. Take your victory lap, my friend.
Yes, sir. I mean, from the fight, from what you were seeing, right, it did look like Peyton Talbot was leaps and bounds better than he was last fight, so it made it seem like there was a lot of improvement. But I agree with you, Derek. I don't think this was the exact point proven or proof case to say that Peyton Talbot has really become that more evolutionary fighter and being able to defend those takedowns, because there's a lot better pressure wrestlers out there that Peyton Talbot's going to have to go up against. So it's good to see one go in there, and I did expect him to be evolved. I just think it was a perfect time, perfect fight for him, and he looked really good. Can't take anything away from the kid.
Yeah, dude's good. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Talbot is good. The other one, though, man, I got to take my victory lap if I can here. Renato Moicano, who I believe, if he wasn't a favorite, he was a small underdog, but I think he was a slight favorite in this one, or it was even money right here. But yeah, he couldn't get the job done against our old pal, Benny Dariush, the old man of the division, and the old man supreme. Hey, listen, I just thought that Dariush was better pretty much everywhere that you could. All the intangibles, all the X's and O's, but the man did get dropped at the end of the first round. So the chin still has a little bit of wear and tear right there. But Moicano, man, fun fighter. You love Moicano. I just think Dariush coming off of back-to-back knockout losses, like people just discounted him. Like he wasn't the guy that was in like title contention mix not that long ago. Moicano never really was there. Don't get me wrong. He was like in the top 5 of the division 6-7 years ago, something like that. But yeah, it's time to give Benny Dariush a little bit of praise right here. What do you think of the fight?
Absolutely. That's when you have to eat some crow if you're on my side, Derek, because I was betting on Moicano, and I agree with you. I did not expect I expected Benny to be good in certain situations. I didn't expect him to run the table on Moicano, man. Even on the speed, even on other things that Moicano did do well with the power and everything. 90% of that fight, Benny had in control. He looked great. I got to give it to him. I'm a big Dariush fan for a long time. I thought he was going to be looking old, going to be looking slow. None of that was true. He looked great.
Yeah, I can't lie, though. I was sweating after he got knocked down at the end of the first. If it wasn't the end of the first round, that could have easily been a walk-off Moicano knockout right there. So, listen, that's how the game goes. AJ, the picks are close in the head-to-head competition. 56-28-1 for me, 55-29-1 for you. Both of us are hovering at 65+ percentage. What did we say this year? Just a friendly reminder. 70, was that the goal? Were we going higher? 75? What are we trying to hit?
The 70's the goal, the expectation. 75's my lofty dream, and I think we're going to hit it, folks. 64 at this point of the year. There's a lot of time to improve, and we know how these fights go towards the end of the year.
That's right. That's right. So for UFC 317, that was a fun one. Hopefully we can get back to that. We can make that like the common trajectory of the entertainment level of these fights. But without any further ado, if you haven't subscribed yet, drop a subscription, comment, all the fun stuff. Let's talk about the UFC Nashville main card.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Headlined by Derrick Lewis, taking on Tallison Teixeira. And I don't want to beat this drum too much, but I do have to just keep saying, the man came in, you got a big knockout win over Justin Tafa, and that elevates you to now fight Derrick Lewis. So either the Lewis fall off needs to be studied, or Teixeira is the second coming of Stefan Struve right here. Elbows, nasty jiu-jitsu, walks forward. Again, tall. I think those are the intangibles right here. Of course, there's a couple other notes that I have here, but how does he beat Derrick Lewis, and how does he propel himself into the top 10 of the heavyweight division?
I think Teixeira needs to be technically proficient in this, because one thing I love about Teixeira, man, he brings the fight, right? Good kicks from the outside. He's going to be pushing that pace, throwing combos, willing to work multiple different ways to win. But if you're pushing too hard against Derrick Lewis, that knockout, the one style we were saying is still kind of always hunted for Derrick Lewis, that big knockout can come, and Derrick Lewis is very tricky when he throws those punches, because it'll be out of nowhere, leaping with a bunch of explosion. So if Teixeira is able to stay technical, stay strong, and really not get lulled into kind of going back and forth on exchanges, that's going to be his best path to victory, that I think.
Yeah, man. Here, I'm going to share my screen really quickly just so we can kind of get an idea of what the recent Derrick Lewis run has looked like. And let's just look at all of the losses that you see right here. They're all good guys, man. Tai Tuivasa, Cyril Gane, Pavlovich, Spivak, Almeida. They're all good guys. A lot of these guys here, because when he loses, man, like he's getting knocked out. This is a killer be killed style fight, 100%. But I'm not seeing anything on Tallison Teixeira's side that matches this. So my question here is, if you look at Teixeira, never been outside of the first round, which is like, yo, kudos to you, because you're making quick work of these guys, but you also only have 8 fights at the same time. So when you look at that, do you see, all right, if he can be a front runner and he can back Derrick Lewis up, because we know Lewis is a little too prone to just back to the cage, waiting for that big counter shot, and if he doesn't get it, gets swarmed, just shells up, and that's the fight, unfortunately. If that front-running style doesn't happen and it turns into like a slowed-down fight over the course of maybe a couple of rounds, let's just say, what do you predict of Teixeira? It's just an unknown. We don't know.
It is just an unknown, Derek, but if you watch how his fights go and you watch the style he has, he is composed in there. He does know how to be a technically sound fighter, and I think he'll be able to not necessarily outpoint Derrick Lewis, but be able to slow him down enough to where that slower style of fight can be advantageous for Teixeira, especially with the long range he has as well, being able to just control him at distance.
Yeah, long jab. Like I said, knees and elbows. We did see who finished Lewis with the elbows. Was it who did he lose to? Tai Tuivasa. It was Tai Tuivasa actually. Got him up against the cage and finished him with the elbow. So he is susceptible to it. I don't know if we're going to see any flying knees out of Derrick Lewis this time, but the other thing that makes Teixeira an interesting prospect is some of the ground game, some of his jiu-jitsu, which I do not think will particularly be a factor here against Derrick Lewis. If you look at Teixeira in his frame, long and tall, but doesn't particularly look big. And don't get me wrong when I say that, like 6'7", you're a huge guy, but you know what I mean, man. Like, of course, you had the Almeida, who's just pure muscle, who's able to actually take him down, and a rare athletic freak in the heavyweight division. Spivak, like these big dudes. I don't know if Teixeira will be able to use that, or even if he'll entertain any of the grappling. So that's really my last piece before we jump into the actual numbers here. Do you see a grappling path for Teixeira? Is that even a wise move from your film breakdown?
Oh, wise move, Derek. I mean, it's always interesting to see Derrick Lewis' ground game get tested, especially as of late. He's doing a lot better at just maintaining takedown defense, getting up when he can, doing the right things when he needs to. So at the moment, I really don't think so. But I mean, you're going up against one-touch KO power all day long. It's hard to say that wrestling this guy, getting him down to the ground, nullifying him that way is not the smartest thing to do, because it's always an option against Derrick Lewis.
Unless he just stands up, because jiu-jitsu is not real, right? I don't know. Shout out to the Black Beast. Listen, man, when we get to the numbers, this is where things get interesting. The total on this one, 1.5 rounds, plus 148 for the over, minus 190 for the under. All of these numbers, again, are being tracked on FanDuel right here, so you can bet wherever you are, except if you were in Vegas like me. We got to go to other sports books, but everywhere else in the country, you should be good to go. AJ, they love this under, minus 190, but like I said, somebody's got to go out quickly. And again, when I just take a look, you're seeing, for Lewis, there was a big streak of first round, second rounds, but the last two, third round for Rodrigo Nascimento and the fifth round for Jailton Almeida went to a decision. Can Teixeira, if that's the guy you're betting for, get it done in one? Are you taking that under?
I am taking that under, Derek. And genuinely, I think with the style that Teixeira presents, because he's not like the Jailton Almeidas or the Rodrigo Nascimentos who are willing to drag this out in a ground style of fight. He's exciting. I think it's going to be a striking battle, and I think one of these guys is going to sleep before that 1.5.
Yeah, that tracks with the money line right here, minus 265 for Teixeira, plus 225 comeback for Derrick Lewis. Listen, it's a heavyweight fight, folks. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but there's not too much analysis you could put into this one. I'm going to fade Tallison Teixeira right here. I am going to take the over on the 1.5 rounds, and I'm also going to rock with the Black Beast at plus money right here. This is not in good faith betting on Derrick Lewis. Instead, this is seeing Teixeira not quite being ready for that spotlight, and again, getting thrust in this spot after a victory over Justin Tafa. To me, you haven't done enough. I need to see it. You beat Derrick Lewis convincingly. All right, you're the guy. But I'm going to fade, and I'm going to go Derrick Lewis. Somebody's got to put some respect on the Black Beast name. AJ, how you finishing this one out?
Folks, don't overlook it, man, because we saw what happened last week with the Benny Dariush fight, and Derek calls sometimes, but man, I'm rocking Teixeira. I'm rocking with the favorite right here. I think on paper, the biggest challenge that Teixeira is going to face is exactly what Derek's talking about, and it's that spotlight. I think it might be, sometimes those lights get a little too big, especially when you're facing down with the Black Beast. He's going to beat his chest down and hump the ground if you get knocked out. So there's a lot of pressure for this, but I still like Tallison Teixeira. I'm taking him by KO.
All right, and that's your main event for UFC Nashville. But again, folks, I said that might be one of the most lackluster fights on this main card, on the card in general. So that's how you know there's money to be made and there's some fun to be had, some entertainment for sure. And entertaining move in the co-main event, man. Wonderboy Thompson, officially the oldest fighter on the UFC's roster. I believe he might be competing with Lauren Murphy right there, who is going to be having her retirement fight on this card on the prelims, or either this week or it's next week. It's one of those. But the point is, you get the young stud, one of the Bonfim bros who were the hottest talk of the town not that long ago, but the 27-year-old Gabriel Bonfim. In a rare clash of styles right here. You got the coveted karate style with Stephen Thompson, and then you got the kickboxing, some would say offensive grappling intensive, but I have seen other things on tape. You got an interesting matchup right here, man. Does Wonder Boy still got it, AJ? That's the first question right here. Does the man still got it? Let's not forget, you're coming off of 2 finish losses in a row, the Shavkat Rakhmonov and Joaquin Buckley. Not particularly bad names. What do you think?
Not particularly bad names, Derek, but on paper, somewhat bad losses, especially that Buckley one. To answer your question, does Stephen Wonderboy Thompson still have it? It seems like he does, right? Like when you look at how he starts fighting and how things are going, he may have lost a little bit of speed, and the only reason he got cracked against Buckley. So if you really got to hit him hard to put him out, I mean, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson still has a game. But I do think, man, 42 years old? Yeah, 42 years old. It's hard not to see him slow down a little bit, and I think the outcome of the Buckley fight is going to happen more often if he keeps going longer and longer in his career.
One thing that's interesting, though, is if you look at the total, Buckley couldn't find that punch. He couldn't corner him until the 3rd round, midway into the 3rd round of the fight right here. This is only a 3-round fight, so again, 15 minutes. As long as it's within the 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. And Bonfim being an interesting fighter who's composed, man. I mean, the thing is, the guys that are beating Bonfim, they're wrestling him. I mean, that's kind of how they're doing. They're applying pressure, right? Nicholas Dalby. I mean, I should say the one guy that beat him. The other guys who are giving him somewhat of stiff competition, like Angelusa, if you watch that fight, he did mitigate a lot of Bonfim's game with pressure. He was eating knees and elbows and everything in between, though, while attempting to do it. Thompson's going to do the opposite, where he's going to be circling around the cage. He's going to be nonstop moving, and that's the problem right here that I see. Can he still be that MVP-esque character, even though Thompson was the one doing this way before him, in the UFC that just is too tricky of a style to pin down and to land the big shot on? Obviously, like you said, man, slower. Buckley caught him, but do you see Bonfim having that same offensive approach and aggressiveness that Buckley had to actually catch him? Because if you're not doing that, it's hard to beat him. Look at Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. How did they win? Wrestling, grappling, right? What do you think?
Yeah, having the explosive aspect, I think, is going to be very challenging for Bonfim. In fact, when I was breaking this fight down, thinking about how his best path to victory is, I don't think it's a striking battle, a point fight with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and hoping you're going to put enough pressure on him that you do catch him when he's moving back, right? When he's pulling out of the way. I don't think that's the best case scenario, man. 9 times out of 10 in a fight like that, Wonderboy Thompson wins those battles. So if you're Bonfim, the only explosiveness that really will be his best way to go forward is going to be in the clinch game. Find a way to do a little bit of damage while you're inside there and get this fight anywhere you can to get the backpack, get the ground, whatever the case, just smother Stephen Wonderboy Thompson as much as possible. But, I mean, if you need to be explosive, those are the times when you can sync up a choke, be explosive in that aspect.
And that's the thing, man. When I was looking at it and seeing like, all right, well, you do have the grappling edge for Bonfim for sure. We know Wonderboy Thompson is historically difficult to take down. I mean, 63% takedown defense. That's pretty damn good, especially when it's in open space. This is a big cage. Let's not forget. In Nashville, this is not the apex cage. This is the large cage. So this favors the person with mobility right here. You don't really see Bonfim just shooting blast doubles from open space. It's these mix-ups. It's he gets shots on first and then reverses position and then launches his own takedown, and it's stuff like that. He's more of a jiu-jitsu guy than he is a wrestling guy, and that's 2 completely different lanes right there. So I don't know how much the submission play is going to come into effect right here. I don't have the number on it right now, but I do know that the total on this one here, AJ, is 2.5 rounds, and it's pretty close to even money, man. Minus 106 for the over, minus 118 for the under right now. Again, Bonfim, if we're looking at it, 13 wins by sub, 3 by knockout, 1 by decision. He has to get his hands on Stephen Thompson. Can he corral the Wonder Boy?
I'm hoping so, Derek. I mean, even thinking it through, like, even though Stephen Thompson, yes, he's 42 years old, he's a little slower than we were talking about, or than previous. He's still a puzzle that's extremely difficult to find. And just going off of any finish, I mean, the submission is the best and probably the only play if you're Bonfim. But again, you're right. Like, I think the best work he's going to be doing it is in that clinch game. He's not going to be just smothering Stephen Thompson the whole time, keeping him down. It's going to be in the clinch game. It's going to be in those little weird transitions that keeps happening where Bonfim can find his moments. So can he do it? There's a world where I say yes, but I do think it's going to be very, very challenging, and this fight's going to be going into the later rounds. So I'm liking the over on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on this one too. And even though I just played devil's advocate and I gave all of these points for the crafty Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Bonfim, man, 27 years old. He's got youth, he's got motor, he's got a hunger and a drive, and I'm just hoping that he doesn't get caught in that game of I can't tag you, I can't find you, because that can happen with Wonderboy, but Wonderboy's going to need to be on skates for 15 straight minutes right here. The last piece that I got right here, man, is I think, so when I tracked it last, Bonfim by submission, the prop was like plus 175-ish. Stephen Thompson has only been submitted one other time. I don't know what the number is tracking currently right now, but I
plus
think that this
130.
is a live plus 130. Oh, sheesh. Okay, so they like it for Bonfim. I don't know if I would bet it, but this is my point. I think that this is a live betting situation right here. As you can see, AJ, the line is heavy on Bonfim, minus 425, plus 325 comeback for Thompson. You do not take Thompson outright as a hedge. I think you bet Bonfim, even though this is pretty steep. I think he's the right side. But if we get past the first round and things start looking a little spry on the Thompson side, I think we get into some live betting plays. But overall, I think Bonfim is the right side. I don't have a real track on this one, so I'm just going to take the money line and keep it as is. This is probably like a parlay piece right here. How do you see it?
I was with you on that, Derek. Parlay piece, or although if you feel like this fight could be long, like you do think it's going to take a while, over 2.5 at plus 102. That's what I'm tracking over here on Bet Online. It's good right there. I mean, I can see a path where that's the most likely to be the outcome, is a longer style of fight. But I'm with you. I like Bonfim, money line, decisions at like plus 200 as well. So there's a couple different options you like. So it really does depend. But I'm thinking the money line is probably the best play for numbers.
All right, that's fair. Let's keep it pushing right here, man. And again, this is a very similar style matchup in the story, in the narrative. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia right here. Listen, man, Calvin Kattar has had a rough go. You're coming off of 4 straight losses, one finish in those 4 losses, so it's not the end of the world, right? And that one finish doesn't count as a finish because you popped your knee. It just kind of was what it was. But Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, and then surprisingly to some, Youssef Zalal, even though he did close as a pretty heavy favorite right there. Now you get the young gun riding a 5-fight knockout streak. Not a win streak, but a knockout streak, all in the first or second round, in Steve Garcia. And this is just a clash of styles right here, man. The first thing that I have here is you have like a clean, orthodox striker in Calvin Kattar who does take a little bit to get going, but fights behind that long jab, cuts off the cage well, all that fun stuff. And then you just got like a menace of a southpaw who just swarms you and swings big. The most surprising thing that I had to relearn, I suppose, from watching back the Garcia tape over the last 5 is his finishes aren't just like bonking you on the head and getting you out of here necessarily, man. It's like he drops you with the one and then he swarms you with the ground and pound. He follows you down and he gets it out of there right there. Does Calvin Kattar at 37 years old still have the mobility to stay away from those Garcia flurries?
The mobility, Derek, I don't think so, man. I think that the footwork and the head work, it will be probably one of the best things for Calvin Kattar to do. But when Steve Garcia, especially how long he is, because I believe he has the reach advantage right here. Yeah, 3-inch reach advantage. I mean, and I don't have the height on me, but the way Steve Garcia fights, like you said, man, one of the best things I like about it, he's mean. That is who he is. He's gonna push the fight, get in there, do people dirty. That's why he's called the Mean Machine. The technical style and the proficiency of boxing that Calvin Kattar has, I think that's going to be the thing that carries him the most. But movement, evasion, I think it's all in favor of Steve Garcia right here.
Yeah, Steve Garcia, he's only 1 inch taller than Kattar, so it's not like a massive discrepancy in terms of size. But that's the thing, man, and this is going to sound wacky. Anybody who knows what they're talking about is going to listen to this and be like, what the hell are you talking about? I think the clean, crisp striking of Calvin Kattar is kind of to his detriment in this matchup right here. Because this fight, for Kattar to win this fight, especially as a plus 100 dog, so the line is definitely creeping right here for him. But for him to win this fight, it needs to be clean. The messier this fight is, the more of a scrap of a true fight and not like a boxing match that this is. I think it favors Steve Garcia, even though I'm not super impressed with the striking of Garcia, to be completely frank with you, man. I just think he got that bonk power that he touches you and dudes are just folding, man. So Calvin Kattar, the other thing is, we saw it was proven in the Max Holloway fight, but how many years ago was that now? That was 2021, bro. That was 4 years ago. Well, we saw Calvin Kattar can take a punch, but we also remember performances like that weather the chin, deteriorate the chin. So after that, we haven't seen him really get bonked in a crazy way. But I mean, you haven't gotten a win since the Giga Chikadze fight. And that was just being able to put a kicker on the back foot and make him box and just overwhelm him with pressure. Steve Garcia is going to put you on the back foot. And the one note that we have of Calvin Kattar, which I want your thoughts on if he'll be able to implement, is he said he just needs to get going faster, man. Again, when we look at these fights right here, I mean, he's really good for 5 rounds. But as of late, in these 3-round fights, he's just not getting it done. Do you think he can implement a fast start here against Steve Garcia? And if he does, how does he avoid getting that chin touched?
Yeah, that's the caveat, Derek. How do you avoid getting that chin touch? Because Steve Garcia, as much of a, like, not necessarily a wild man, but you're right, not the cleanest, most polished striking. He throws awkward shots in there and he tags you with power. So if Calvin Kattar is going to get this fight started fast, he has to work behind that jab and really, really dominate the fight and make sure that your head movement's on precise, because when Steve Garcia throws it back at you, you need to be hitting first, you need to be hitting third. So that way you can actually do some damage, get some respect, and then hit him with a 5-piece combo, something fast, so that way he knows this, anytime he enters this range, he's not leaving without 1, 2, or 3 at least getting to him. That's the only way I see Calvin Kattar doing this. But just based off tape, I don't see him implementing a heavy jab, walk forward, and just throw combos kind of approach, and then trying to counterpunch after that. I don't know.
And that's where, I mean, that's the thing. That's almost the key to victory. He has a beautiful 1-2 and step in elbow. The exits for Steve Garcia, he leaves his chin high, so it's like you want to take advantage there. But again, I think that's the key for Steve Garcia is, can you force pocket exchanges? And if you can, I think he's the rightful victor right here. This is another one right here, man, where I'm not too sure tracking on a prop, but I like Steve Garcia -120. I think you take that one all day right here. Like I said, I think the line is creeping for Calvin Kattar a little bit, but I'm going to take money line, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a decision victory right here. Again, Kattar has shown that the chin has tested, and we haven't seen it fully crack yet. So that's how I'm going to play it, that one. Of course, that means I'm taking the over on 2.5 rounds, +120 for the over, -154 for the under. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, Derek, I like the over on this one as well, man, especially with giving respect to how good Calvin Kattar is, because he's good. I mean, we were just talking that he's slowing down a little bit and that really Steve Garcia outmatches him on a lot of things. But I do think, especially being proficient in the boxing he can make this style of fight a very clean, pretty kind of showcase, if you will, of how Calvin Kattar is elite. But I do like Steve Garcia, man, for this one. I think he has all the style, all the pressure, and he's going to be able to smother Calvin Kattar in that boxing range and force him to fight in that close style, leading to a better fight for Steve Garcia. I'm with you. I like the money line. I know it's not the best for him, but -130. I mean, if Steve Garcia is able to finish this fight, that's going to be one of the best lines we're seeing him for in at least a while.
A dude riding a 5-fight knockout streak and you're getting him at -130, -120, you got to jump on it. Again, Calvin Kattar can play spoiler, but the last couple times that I bet on him to play that spoiler role, we're just not quite getting it done. So leave it at that one right there. And man, especially if he can get a finish, 6 knockouts in a row, making waves in the division right there at 145. All right, man, let's keep it pushing right here. This is going to be the loudest fight of the night right here. Nate the Train Landwehr versus Morgan Charrière. Listen, you get Nate the Train in Nashville, in Tennessee. The thing you're looking forward to the most is the post-fight speech. That's really the star of the show. That's the main event.
Hold on! My mama ain't raised no baby!
That the people want to see. But let's keep it real, man. Nate is fighting for relevance right here in his division at featherweight. At one point, the man was riding a 3-fight win streak over Ludovic Klein, David Onama, and Austin Lingo. Lingo's the odd man out right there. That wasn't the most exciting, but those 2 names were big. You lose to Ige, you bounce back with knocking out Jamal Emmers after you were pretty much finished yourself earlier in the fight. And then Do Ho Choi takes him to ground and pound town and just kind of, gets him out of there right there. So you have a guy fighting for relevance right here versus another guy who is fighting to make sure that the hype was real, man. Morgan Charrière, everyone was hyping him up. Cage Warriors champion. I was hyping him up, saying this dude is so good. But you come in, you win your debut, lose to Chepe Mariscal, beat Gabriel Miranda, and then Nathaniel Wood makes you look like you're not even on the same level. I have some thoughts on this one, but I want to know your thoughts on this matchup right here. Is this a gimme fight for either one of these fighters, or do you see this being a levels style of fight?
No, I see this being a level style of fight, Derek, because I don't think either one They both have situations where they're going to dominate in, right? Like if you let Nate Landwehr get in there and have a bar fight, he's going to win 10 times out of 10. You put Morgan Charrière in there and he's able to have a technical style, really work some moves, put some combos together and evade. He's going to be way better at that as well. But man, with this one, how it's going to clash out in those middle transitions because of how wild Nate Landwehr is and willing to press the fight. This is like a put up or shut up fight if you're Charrière, right? And kind of for both of them as well. For Nate Landwehr, like you said, he needs to be relevant. And that goes to that exact thing. Like, can you be that crazy man? Can you be that wild man and still be relevant in this? Or are you just a fun fighter? Which really at the end of the day, unless you're Derrick Lewis, kind of fades out into existence. Morgan Charrière has the problem of, I need to show that I'm elite, which is a little bit different of a fight, but man, it's going to be interesting who comes out on top.
Yeah, man, you got to look at the age discrepancy too. 37 years old for Landwehr. You know, he's making his run a little bit late. Charrière, 29, arguably haven't even entered your prime yet, and the man already has 11 losses. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to be disparaging. I'm saying it to where it's like you got a lot of experience right there. You know, you've won a bunch, you've lost a bunch, and 10 of those losses are by decision right there. So it's not like you're getting cracked. If you're looking at Landwehr, losing that knockout to Doo-Ho Choi, getting dropped the way that he did in that fight against Emmers, losing to Dan Ige, losing to Julian Erosa. You remember that fight right there where we were all over Landwehr and the dude just got flying kneed out in the first round. Like, those types of losses are going to make those bar fights a little bit harder the longer that you go. But I don't think Charrière is going to give him that. And this is really my big point here. Nate the Train, what does he do? He gets in your face and he throws up a volume style of fight. He wants to land, he wants to throw big shots, but his guard is not the greatest guard. I mean, striking defense, as you can see here, 53%. You block more than you don't, but that's still not a fantastic percentage to hold. Same thing for Charrière, but I think that the problems that Nathaniel Wood gave Charrière that made him look so poor in his last outing is that you can't hit what you can't touch. You know Landwehr is going to be there. You don't got to track him down. He's going to get in your face. So it's a matter of, can you hit and not get touched on the back end right there? Let's incorporate a little bit of grappling on top of it. I think that's why they're tracking him as such a heavy favorite right now, as minus 270. I just think Landwehr is a little slower, a little older, and I don't know if he'll be able to hang tit for tat in a striking matchup right here, especially with that high guard, because we know Charrière likes to dig to the body as well. Do you think the line should be closer, or do you think that's a fair assessment there?
I was expecting the line to be closer, Derek. I was expecting more of a 175 plus 130, 150 comeback. I do see why, especially on paper. If you're looking at this, you would think Morgan Charrière is that much of a favorite, especially as of late. I mean, even that last loss against Nathaniel Wood, as I'm in full agreement with you, that was a levels fight where you did not even look like you belonged in the cage. He is still very, very talented and a young prospect. And like you said, man, 20 and 11 at, what was he, 22, 29? Man, this kid this kid has so many fights under his belt and still has such a long career to go. If he's able to put on a star kind of performance, right, a masterclass of striking, wrestling, put it together and really put on like I said, a performance out here against Nate the Train, this is going to speak levels, but I do think it's going to be one of the hardest fights he's had. And that's even losing a very difficult fight last time.
Yeah. That's kind of my X factor for Landwehr. If you could push the pace for 15 straight minutes, not a warm up for the first 5, and no, push the pace for 15 straight minutes. Don't let Charrière dictate range. I think he gasses out, and I think Landwehr could win this fight. But if that doesn't happen, I got to go with Charrière here, man. He's got more tools. If you look at all of the factors that you could track, if I had a clipboard and I had all of the different intangibles to track, aside from being a straight dog, Charrière checks all the boxes right here. So I just think like you can't bet with emotion. You gotta bet with your what would you say, with your wisdom? I don't know, man. You know what I'm trying to say right here. Bet with the smart strategy. Don't just bet on the hometown hero. Over is 2.5. That's the total right there. Minus 156 for the over, plus 124 for the under. I'm feeling the over on this one, man. 150. I don't think that's bad right there. What do you see?
I don't think it's bad right there, because I do think and I agree with you, Derek, all the boxes are checked for Morgan Charrière. The only box that isn't is that dog category, and we got to really see it right here. I think that putting that to the test, especially with how Nate Landwehr is going to bring the fight no matter what, and it depends on how he brings the fight. But I mean, in those moments of chaos, we're going to see Charrière have to do something different. I think it's going to lead to a longer fight. I like the over right here. I like Morgan Charrière as well. I think it's a long time in the UFC ahead of him. And he's going to polish those skills even more.
That's right. Again, not one that I would throw in a parlay right here, but I'm going to take the Charrière money line, stay away from the props. But let's not forget, though, I will say, man, the last time that he got in a pocket exchange, a real pocket exchange, he got dropped by Nathaniel Woods. So if Nate the Train hits you, I don't know. We'll see what happens right there. All right, man, let's move on to the next matchup right here. Heavyweight, AJ, Vitor Petrino. Listen, man, you got to switch something up. Sometimes Dustin Jacoby, Anthony Smith, they finish you. You went from being undefeated, like crazy. You were undefeated. You get finished 2 fights in a row, and you say, I got to switch divisions. I mean, either that's a lack of confidence, that's a gain of confidence to say the heavyweight division is so abysmal right now, I can just walk up and do whatever I want because at least I'm an athlete and I'm not, slop right here. Like I can go and I could actually like hit the gym and wrestle these guys down or do whatever I need to do. But you got Austin Lane right here, who I think it's fair to say, man, no, you haven't had the greatest run. You got knocked out in your last 3 losses, but he's trying, bro. You know what I mean? He's got a long frame. He's big. He's throwing punches. He's killer, be killed. He's trying. He's just exiting with that chin up and getting clipped. He's getting overzealous and he's getting put down. That opportunity is here. One of these guys are getting knocked out, and at 37 years old, Austin Lane, this might be the final chance to see what's up. If you can't get past this guy, it's almost like, all right, bro, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, Derek. Now, this is another put up or shut up fight, especially for Austin Lane. I like the move up weight classes for Vitor Petrino. I who knows what it is, his reasons behind it. What I'm hoping for is that he was in the gym, feeling good at a certain weight, got a sparring session with a heavyweight and realized I can do well right here. This is probably where I belong. Hopefully he's going to weigh in somewhere around that 250 mark. So he's not super heavy, but still not super undersized. But again, fighting against Austin Lane, sometimes Austin Lane is a faster style of heavyweight, so I do got to give him a lot of credit in that. He has what everybody in the heavyweight division has been trying to achieve, that Francis Ngannou style, the light heavyweight who's able to be a very technical style of fighter. Austin Lane has the beginnings of that. It just looks like he started it way too late, and he was too tall when he learned how to do it all, so he couldn't really get the motions down. He still has that little bit about him, and it does make it wearisome if you're an Austin Lane better, especially because Vitor Petrino, man, he hits hard, he's technical, he has this patient style of striking where he's going to find those moments, be able to get in there, and he's well-rounded. He just needs to prove he's elite, and in a division, like Derek said, that's not really or lackluster of some sorts at this moment. You can make a big splash, make a big name off of a guy like Austin Lane.
I feel like that's the trend right now. It's just like if you're not doing great at light heavyweight, just move up to heavyweight. And yeah, you might be at a little bit of a size disadvantage, but if you could go past 5 minutes and not be gassed to death, like you're probably going to win the fight. And that's the problem here with Austin Lane too, man. Yes, he did prove that he was able to go 15 minutes, but I think if there's somebody who's got a better gas tank in this fight, it's going to be Petrino right here. However, I don't think the gas tanks are going to necessarily be necessary, right? I think that this is a fight right here that will have a little bit of hesitancy. Austin Lane might not want to start too hot, right? Because you're coming off of those knockout losses. Petrino might be in the same boat. You already alluded to it. He's a patient fighter. I do want to circle back to his camp for Vitor Petrino says that the move to heavyweight was somewhat injury driven, but just weight cut relief. And he wants a smoother output, more output over 15 minutes right here. I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it. Let's see what you got here. You didn't want to cut weight, whatever, but you got to go up here and you got to knock these dudes out. If we see the Austin Lane who comes out hot, I mean, we saw Vitor Petrino's chin crack. At heavyweight, bro, I don't got the weights right here, but Austin Lane is not particularly a small heavyweight. Former football player, a lot of pop in his punch. And in that fight that he had against Mario Pinto, he was winning portions of that fight right here. If he didn't get overzealous, who knows how it would have gone. But if he lands with the same vigor and intensity that he did against Petrino, like that he did with Pinto, you might be putting him out early right here. What do you think?
I agree with you, Derek. The athleticism that Austin Lane presents is always a challenge because it's shocking sometimes when a guy who you are proficient or technically better, proficient, more proficient, whatever the word is on paper, when that guy is able to crack you one at a new weight class that you weren't really expecting, and you feel good because you're not cutting weight, but the same thing, the other guy's feeling better because he hasn't been cutting weight for a long time. This is his normal style. It does prevent some problems. I'm excited to see how Vitor Petrino handles this, because I think personally he's going to be doing flying, right? If he sticks to his game plan, has the style he normally fights and presents, and is able to mix it up in there, I think he can dominate. But you're right, got to get past that first 5 minutes.
That's it. We'll see if he implements some grappling right here. Again, these are going to be bigger bodies to try to move around, so we'll see. The note that I have here is that he was expecting to come in at about 235, 240, and at heavyweight, that's still a small heavyweight. It's like Marcin Tybura, he's like one of the smaller heavyweights, and he's still close to that 265 limit right there. So we'll see what happens. I think that, this one gets over first. At this point right here, I'm going to go Vitor Petrino. I think that he's the better fighter. I think that aside from Robles Despain right here, there's been nobody in the UFC that Austin Lane's been able to actually defeat yet. I'm going to go for Vitor Petrino. You beat Tyson Pedro. You beat Modestas Bukauskas, Prochnio. You've shown us that you have the skill set. It's just about putting it together right here at the bigger weight class. I'm going to go with the knockout, first round. Easy. Yeah, calling it right there. How do you see it?
Stamp it, Derek. Vitor Petrino, knockout, first round, taking the under. I actually really like the knockout prop. But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun fight. So make sure you tune in early.
What are we tracking for the knockout prop? What's the number on it?
Oh, let me pull it up. I had it.
When I had it, it was sitting at plus 110, playable to about plus 140. I'm curious, is it minus money at this point, or is it still plus?
Petrino KO minus 240. So yeah, that under might be the play on this one.
All right, well, folks, I don't know. There's no juice. Minus 700, Vitor Petrino. That kind of sounds ridiculous because Austin Lane can knock him out, but we'll just leave it at that, man. Do what you want with that one. No value, but for the sake of our tournament right here, that's the play right here, Vitor Petrino. All right, and to open us up, the opening bout of the night, Junior Tafa gets Tokkos, and AJ, this is a opposite move of what we just talked about right here, but this is a heavyweight saying, I'm going to go down to light heavyweight, which is not uncommon. We've seen it before. But I think Tafa, he's looking to just make some noise here, man. He came in, the little brother of Justin Tafa, and you lost to Muhammad Usman, Rogerio de Lima, Walter Walker. AJ, what's the common theme of these fighters? Takedowns, right?
Wrestling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
takedowns.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Sean Sharaf, you got the knockout, but that was a hard-fought fight. Parker Porter, you knocked him out. But AJ, I cannot not bring this up. I told you about heavyweight slop, if you will. And I only say that because after 5 minutes, the pace drops off dramatically. Can Junior Tafa, even though I've assessed the film, I know what people are thinking, but minus 170 for Junior Tafa, is that a rightful number given that if like 5 minutes passes and if he gasses without knocking out Tokkos, I think Tokkos just wrestles him and wins the fight? What do you think?
That's an option, Derek. That really is, and especially if Tokkos is heavy on the gas at the start, right? Trying to take him down, trying to put the pressure on him, really not staying on your back foot and putting it to Junior Tafa right here, because then, like we saw in the last fight, 5 minutes and you are absolutely gassed, staring you down, just hands down, breathing, mouth agape. So that is what we want to avoid. And that's why I like the move down to light heavyweight for Junior Tafa. I mean, he moved down. He's only 1 inch shorter than Junior and then Tokkos right here. So he's right where he should be as far as height. I think it's going to be a better style of fight for him, right? Or at least easier gas tank usage, because now you're in shape, you're having to cut weight, like you're going to be hopefully be a little bit more trained in that department, right? You're going to have a little bit more gas tank to you in a lighter weight class, hopefully. So that's really the big asterisk right here, because I like the move, but we do need to see what it's like in case a dog fight breaks down like it normally does in a Tafa brothers fight. If that happens, what's the gas tank looking like after one round? Because Tokkos can run away with it if he keeps that pressure up.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, man. Is like I've been trying this entire week to convince myself on why Tokkos is the side, on why he's going to be able to get past those initial 5 minutes and just run away with it. But I'm just not impressed by anything that I see. And I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way, man. It's just the output. You have to earn respect to get takedowns generally. And if Tafa, who's been able to don't get me wrong, he's very easily taken down. His takedown defense, 78%. I guess that's pretty impressive, but it looks easy when you watch film. But he's been able to stay up with larger guys trying to take him down. If Tokkos doesn't set something up, just naked takedown shots, I don't think it's going to work here. I think you have to impose your striking, earn some respect, and then take your shot. Clinch him up against the cage, trip him, take him down. But if he can't get past that, Tafa strikes with mean intentions. That's what the Tafa brothers do. And in his last fight against Charrière, man, you saw it. Even though they were both completely gassed, it's just like, if he touches you, it's gonna be good night. The problem is, Tokkos is just a lot faster. He can implement, get to the back, choke him. I don't know, man. I'm seeing an upset spot for Tokkos right here. I just don't believe in Junior Tafa yet until I see it. But everywhere you look, there's no dissenting opinions. Everybody's all over Tafa. Nobody likes Tokkos in this spot. Can you be our dissenting opinion, or is it just all Tafa?
No, there's some things that Tokkos does well, Derek. The very snappy striking. Like, this guy is able to hit you from angles, right, from distance, really put in a work and snap his punches on you, so you can feel where he's working. The problem I do see, though, especially with Tokkos, is the output. One of the notes I have down is he doesn't mind staying patient to counter strike. You cannot stay patient and just try to be second person to the party with a Tafa brother, because you're gonna get cracked, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get put to sleep. So if Tokkos is able to find a way to make it work, you need to be working that snappy jab off the front, 1-2s, evade to the side, and then hopefully try to get it back. Try to get inside somewhere where either you're in close and that power is nullified, or you're too far away and you're making Junior Tafa chase you around, so that way you can implement your moments where you can do well. Tokkos has good movement. He has good base, good foundation for a good fighter. He's just lacking a lot of the extra steps after that. So there's a world where he can get it done. I just think he has a lot stacked against him, especially against Junior Tafa right here.
Yeah, I get it, man. I don't like either of these fighters. Not that I don't like them as personalities or individual fighters, but I don't like this matchup right here. So my final betting thought was take either one, take it inside the distance, and just call it a day. But for the sake of what we're doing right here, the total is 1.5, of course, plus 100 for the over, minus 126 for the under. I'm going to take Tafa. I'm going to go by knockout some point in the second round, probably over the 1.5 mark right there. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think with the wrestling that Tokkos is going to provide, or at least the pressure he should be trying to go for, and with the untested gas tank that we've seen at Tafa, I like the over as well right here, Derek. I even like him by knockout, and I think over 2.5 KO all day long. I mean, the numbers look good. Everybody's with Tafa, but this is an upset spot for Tokkos.
Yep, fair. All right, folks, that is your UFC Nashville main card right here, but the fun does not end there. We have a couple of additional plays here for you. Again, that's our general look throughout the main card. Now we got some sharp corner plays where we want to win you some money, because if we win money, you win money, we all win. Who doesn't love it? AJ, you're going to start us off with your one pick of the week that if you had to, your buddy phones you and you said, AJ, brother, I need to make some bread this weekend. What's the play? Talk to us, brother. What do you got?
You need to make some bread. We're at plus money right here. We were just talking about it, folks. I'm taking Junior Tafa versus Tokkos over 1.5 plus. And when I was looking at it, plus 105. So make sure you catch this line when you can, if you think it's going to happen, for all the reasons we were just talking about. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We always talk about him right before. So you know what I'm talking about. Tokkos, he's going to provide at least hopefully something, but the power and the unknown that Junior Tafa has right here, I think it's going to provide a lot of value. I like this because it's plus money. There was hard trying to find value in this card. There's few places, and at plus money, this fight, I see this one hitting.
And even better, you don't got to pick a side. You're just waiting for the total right there. So everybody wins. All right. And I got one, too. We're going to head back to the main card, a fight we were just talking about. But heavyweight scrap, Petrino versus Austin Lane. I said it with confidence. Under 1.5 rounds, minus 170 is what I tracked on FanDuel. It's probably steeper, given that, AJ, what did you say his knockout prop went to? Like minus fucking 250 or something crazy? What are we looking at?
I'm pulling it up real quick.
All right. So while he's pulling up the number, the reason why is because Lane has cashed the under 1.5 in 5 of his last 6 bouts. Petrino has cashed it in 3 of his 7 UFC bouts. One clean connection from either one of these heavyweights ends the fight. Of course, what's the number we got, brother?
Under 1.5 has not moved much, Derek. Minus 179, even though that KO prop, it has moved a lot to minus 240. You're right on money right there, brother.
There we go. And if you don't believe the Petrino side, you're just banking on someone to finish the fight early. So that's your sharp corner plays this week. Go get you some money. Hit us in the comments when you're done. And the final portion of the program here, some exciting news here, AJ. Not really, because you know it's never going to happen, but it's one of those things where you know we've come a long way. Folks, so once upon a time, you had politicians who were looking at the sport of mixed martial arts, UFC, not allowing them to fight in a plethora of states, especially in New York. And one of the main reasons is that this is human cockfighting. We don't support it. That's what these old heads were saying. These people uneducated of the beauty of violence that is MMA. However, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, the president of the United States is the most freaking craziest thing. He goes on his, whatever he's doing, touring, whatever he's doing, he's talking, he's in Iowa, and he holds a rally, and he says, we're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House. We've got a lot of land there. And I don't do a good Trump impression, but you got the United States president's like, yo, let's have a UFC fight on the White House grounds. And then I guess press secretary Carolyn Levitt, if that's who she is, she says the president is dead serious, which, you know, doesn't mean anything. This is never going to happen, but it is hilarious to hear. And then you got everybody chirping in. John Jones retires. We just talked about it. He says, hey, actually, I'm going to re-enter the testing pool. I would love to fight at the White House. McGregor, of course, teasing everybody again. He's never coming back, but saying, oh, bro, I'm going to come fight at the White House. Listen, AJ, here's the conundrum. No American UFC champions. This cannot happen. This will be a disgrace to our land and our country featuring any other nationality as a champion in this fight. What do you think, brother? What do you make of it? We've come a long way.
I'm of the opposite opinion, Derek, brother. I mean, I'm not the most political person, folks, but that no American champion fighting on American soil. This is, especially with Donald Trump in presidency, I mean, this is what America's about, is turmoil, brother. That storyline's all day long, chaos all day long. I think it's one of the best things if it happens. And I agree with you. I don't think it is. But if this goes down, you bet your ass I'm buying a ticket to Washington, D.C., because that's going to be crazy, Derek. It's so insane it's not happening. But, man, that would make all-time headlines, especially for the 250th anniversary. Like, all day long. I think it's a great media ploy, but still. Yeah,
that's right. So I forgot about that part. I guess, for the 250th birthday of the United States, something like that, man. Listen,
America.
I'm all about America. Shout out. So that's why you got to have an American champion right here. I don't want nobody else. I don't want a Brazilian. I don't want a Georgian. I don't want nobody else here, but we don't got none right now. So, I mean, listen, until you get one, they said it's going to be June or July 2026. Right, yeah, July 2026. So we got some ground to make up right here. But this would be the first pro sport event ever held on White House grounds, which, of course, AJ, I'm going to ask you this. I don't expect the answer to be yes. Have you ever been to the White House?
No. Yeah, never.
Well, I have been to the White House. I've been inside of the White House. I've been outside of the White House. AJ, it is just an old house, brother. Like, it is not the most spectacular thing you've seen in the world. The grounds, you would think it's some miraculous. Like, they play it up in national media like it's just this amazing situation or whatever the case may be. But it's just an old house, and I don't know how this would work. It would be like a regional fucking MMA event outside or something. It would be crazy. It wouldn't look good. You'd have to build an Apex or something there, and you know that would never happen. So, folks, that is a good way to end it this week. Next week, AJ, we got another fight card here, but I don't remember. Oh, actually, no. Listen, UFC 318 BMF belt is on the line. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3. So join us then. But that's it for us this week. Until next time, folks.